which then is able to tap into universal mind, or akasha. And if you look at it from a Huna perspective, you get the same thing. The lower mind is able to tap into the middle mind, and then which the higher mind is then able to give information. But the higher mind cannot give information directly to the conscious in most people's cases. It's like you would be flooded with information all the time and signals. So what you do is, to find out something, you know that your subconscious has access to universal mind. So what you want to do is you have to empty this conscious mind. It's like a person who thinks all the time, rattle, rattle, rattle. If they're trying to douse and they think, I wonder if this is right, I wonder if this is right. And they've got that radio voice going nonstop. It's like a voice going all the time. If they can't quiet their mind, they're generally very poor dowsers. People who are extremely mental have trouble dowsing. What you got to do is just say, God's will be done, and then just turn it over to your subconscious, and the subconscious will affect your mind motor movements. When your subconscious then causes you to have a fine motor movement, you will actually be drawn to the right category on a chart. It's like you can have a fan chart that has 10 things on it, and when that fan chart, like what to do, what should I do today? You know, it can tell you what to do. Your subconscious knows the past, the present, and the future. So all you have to do then is tap into the subconscious through the use of fine motor movements demonstrated by dowsing, magnified by dowsing. That is the beauty of dowsing. So with the charts, I suggest you use a pendulum. It is possible to use the aura meter for charts, but it's a little trickier. You point it down. For people that have a lot of trouble dowsing, though, they sometimes do better with the aura meter even for charts. What you would do is you would say, okay, what is it? What should I do? Exercise. Well, I sure need to exercise. I don't exercise enough. So you would just have it. It will actually be drawn to it by your subconscious mind, which then activates your fine motor muscles, muscle response. So charts are very good to have, because in order to access universal mind, the book of life, Akasha, what you really need is to get in the right directory. It's like a computer. The universal mind's like a computer. You have to get in the right directory. You have to get in the right file. And then you can douse over the questions. What charts do is give you the right directory in order to know the correct questions to ask. In the mystery schools, it is said that the person that knows the correct question to ask has the right to the answer. And that is the reason that most truths are not given overtly. They're often given in parables. They're given in parables so that people, if a worthy person can then pose the correct questions for the correct answers, he's given the clues to the correct questions. And that's what dowsing is all about. A person who does not know how to word questions is a poor dowser. An example would be if a person said, is it going to rain today? Well, you might get a yes, it's going to rain today, and then it doesn't rain. You can say, why didn't it rain? I doused it was going to rain. The reason is it could be raining in Texas, it could be raining in Israel. You know, it's like you got to ask the right question. You got to say, what is the percentage of likelihood that we will get rainfall in Danville, Vermont today? You know, that is a better worded question. Or you could say more than 1 to 2 inches of rain in Danville, Vermont. What is the percentage of likelihood that, let's say, or you could say, you could do that with allergies, like some people say. They'll go over their food and they'll say, is corn good for me? You know, that's not a good question. What you could do is say, what percentage of compatibility does my physical body have with fresh corn without pesticides on it? See, the reason is that a lot of people think they're allergic to foods, and they're actually allergic to the pesticides. So you say, what is the percentage of compatibility with my body with corn? Like common food things to douse for would be allergies, the most common of which are corn, soy, wheat, milk, eggs, let's see, what are the other, yeast, citrus fruits. Anyway, those are in many textbooks, but if you know your compatibility, you can be much healthier. Many people sink into deep depressions because they're allergic to the foods they eat the most often. A common cause of chronic viral syndrome is just eating foods one that is allergic to. For instance, soy, which is a lot of Oriental people, all Oriental people can digest soy. But about 50–55% of Caucasians cannot digest soy. They don't have an enzyme, and they get an allergy to it because of their body revolting against something they don't have an enzyme for. And so a lot of people that might read macrobiotic books might think they should eat soy products. And in fact, as Caucasians, may not be able to digest it. Their systems are different. Another thing is milk products. You know, like yogurt is very compatible to me and to many people, but almost 90% of all adult blacks cannot take milk products. They're incompatible with it. They don't have enzymes. Even with taking yogurt, it would be bad for them. It'd give them sinus. So many babies are allergic. If a person knows how to douse their foods, which change, your compatibilities change, they are much healthier. They can keep their vitality. They don't wipe out the end of the day. So many people that work in offices, the reason they're weak is they eat something at lunch that makes them weak. And if they know how to douse, they just say, they don't have to do it with a tool. You know, you could take a compatibility chart and say, okay, on the, I'll show you over here. See, you can have one side can be positive and one side can be negative. This is a simplified version. But say if you wanted to know how beneficial would an orange be for me. See, it'd be very negative for me. I don't need any yin fruits. So you would just douse that, and it's so easy. It is the first thing that a douser can learn that is extremely easy to do. So say you douse your foods, and then you douse colors to wear. That's another very easy thing to start dousing. You can make a color chart, red, green, blue, and you just put your pendulum in the center. And what you do to get a pendulum, a lot of people have trouble getting the pendulum first started. You have to make sure you've had plenty of water. Because a person that doesn't have enough water their muscles don't work. Also, a common thing today is to not eat any salt, and some people who have been under stress through mental or physical stress, they are in a state of adrenal exhaustion, and they often throw out salt, and a low salt, your muscles require salt and other minerals to work, and so the addition of sea salt to the diet often makes the person able to douse. Sometimes they just go put a little bit on their tongue. But you could also douse what you're low in once you get used to it. You could say, how is my current sodium? Neutral. How is my potassium? Positive. How is my calcium? Positive. How is my magnesium? Positive. Okay, how is my zinc? A little low. See, so you can go down minerals and anything. You could check your blood sugar. Is it low, high? The reason you need to do that is that the primary things that cause poor dousing are low blood sugar, not enough salt, not enough water, often too alkaline or too acid. You know, if you take a little, it's in American food diets, any more fast food diets, we see more alkalinity than acidity. You know, it used to be Americans were very acid because they eat so much meat, and they still eat too much meat. But what we found is that so many people eat processed foods. These processed foods will produce an alkaline state. and it's like a lot of people are still going with the Oriental system that says everybody's acid. Americans are all too acid. And this isn't true anymore. It used to be. But right now, if you set and doused the pH of most Americans, you would find most of them are too alkaline. I have found that almost everyone that I have taught to douse will douse better if they add a little cider vinegar to their diet. Now you can, if you can't douse at all, try it. Take a tablespoon of cider vinegar and put it in a glass of water and drink it down and wait a couple minutes, and boy, you'll start, a lot of times you'll douse. So you've got your salt, you've got to make, and if you're real acid, it may be that you're not eating. It may be you might need to be checked for diabetes. You might be in ketoacidosis. You might have some problems there. If you're persistently acid, you ought to be checked for diabetes. Also, if you eat too much meat, you may be too acid, so you need to cut. Most people should not eat a lot of meat to be good dousers, particularly before some very intense dousing. It's very good to 2 or 3 hours before to eat very lightly, to eat primarily liquids, if you're going to really be doing some intense dousing, or yogurt for many people is fine. All soft drinks should be avoided. One of the most common causes of poor dousing is soft drinks, Coca-Colas. The NutraSweet is another major reason that people have trouble dousing. NutraSweet is so weakening. I have never seen it not be weakening on a person. I can muscle test any person. NutraSweet is devastating. It loads up on the brain cells, and all of the diet drinks will have NutraSweet in it. Saccharin, which is not great, is less weakening than NutraSweet. I would not advise anyone to use the common diet foods, such as the fake fat that's got the inverse fat, and there's an inverse sugar. All these fake foods are poison to the body. The reason the body doesn't put fat on with these fake foods is that it rejects them. And if it rejects them, it's weakening to put something in the body that the body cannot handle. So I would suggest anything that is of a fake fat, a fake sugar, all these things should be avoided and weaken you as a douser. So you want to take in foods that are alive too. So many of the foods, you could take a McDonald's hamburger and you could put it on your cabinet for a year and it wouldn't rot. I'm ashamed to tell you how I know that. I have a bunch of kids, and my husband's car, he would buy these fast foods, and it was a hamburger had been laying back there, and the receipt was laying back there, and I could see how long it had been, in the back seat, shoved under the seat. That hamburger piece had been there for nearly a year in my husband's car, and the receipt and everything was still there. I was stapled to the bag, and it was just as fresh as, because it's nuked. They can't tell me they don't nuke their food. I think all McDonald's nukes their food, nukes the products that they turn into their food. They might nuke them in the central location, but they're nuked. There's no doubt in my mind it's nuked. A lot of goat milk is nuked. I used to try to buy goat milk in the grocery stores, and there's this one brand, Breyer's goat milk, and it says ultra pasteurized. I got suspicious. And I got to dousing over it because I started feeling kind of weak, and it had plutonium in it. Plutonium. It was nuked. I laid that goat milk out on the cabinet, and 2 weeks later it wasn't spoiled. And I noticed, isn't it odd, the expiration date's about 4 months in the refrigerator, and there's something wrong when the expiration date of something is 4 months later. You don't trust anything with a long expiration date. They're nuking a lot of chicken too. So you got to be cautious, and try to get food that does ferment, that will rot. It's a good sign if bread gets mold on it. It means it's not nuked. So I would much rather eat something like that because it's alive. At least it's feeding mold. It's like if it's feeding mold, maybe it'll feed you. But if something doesn't mold, you got a serious problem because there are enzymes in nuked food that will really make you ill. I mean, it causes your body causes a type of a chemical breakdown that's extremely weakening to the human system. It makes you a poor douser. So you want to make sure you eat live food, such as sprouts, salads without a lot of sprays on them, seeds. If you eat meats, it should be small portions, well chewed, and the way the Orientals eat it, like in a stir fry, is actually very strengthening, and most Americans don't do real well on a meat-free diet because they've had so many generations of meat eating. And so to go off of meat abruptly, I've seen people get very weakened, and it should either be tapered off or eaten in small amounts so as to not cause anemias and stuff, as our bodies are not used to abrupt changes like that. So by eating live foods, by making sure you have the right mineralization, by drinking plenty of fresh water that hasn't been treated with fluoride, which is one of the most weakening things in the world. It causes a lowering of testosterone in the male. It causes all sorts of problems. So I would suggest avoid city water. You know, try to get you some good well water, because the normal well water has a high fluoride content, but it is not a sodium fluoride, it's calcium fluoride. Calcium fluoride is easy for the body to handle. But sodium fluoride, which is used in toothpaste and mouthwashes and by the dentist, is deadly poison to your kidneys and will produce profound illness. Children can die from eating one tube of toothpaste. So to be a good dowser, you should avoid these substances. Aluminum deodorants are another hazard because so many people are loaded up with aluminum, they practically have Alzheimer's.